It is the RIOT, the Wednesday, March 22nd edition of the podcast.
Are we ready?
Ready for what?
For last few days of our spring fundraiser. And then
ready.
for Nikki to be gone. Yay!
Oh, you're going to just jump out there and say that, huh?
I was working and scheduling things ahead for my vacation.
So now you're officially ready to go?
I'm ready, but first we got to get RadioU funded, which we're the RIOT on RadioU. So if you listen to this podcast and you never learned about supporting and, you realize, you guys don't try to sell me mattresses or something like that, or like every other podcast, maybe take a second at RadioU.com while we're doing our fundraiser and help out and support in some way.
You don't want to keep the vacation a secret because people might think if RadioU doesn't get fully funded, Nikki can't
go on
leave.
vacation?
Yeah, and we want Nikki to stay around.
See, that's what I was thinking. Like, if we don't get fully
works.
funded, then we all go on vacation.
That's also just called no job. I don't know if it works the same way, but we don't want it to get to that point.
No, definitely not.
Yeah, but so we'll have a few more shorter podcasts and then back to normal on Monday without me.
We talked about, today on the podcast, we talked about some flying controversies. What you're allowed to bring on a plane, what you're not allowed to bring on the plane.
Yeah. And for some reason, we find out the reason. You'll hear it in a moment, but you're not allowed to bring peanut butter on a plane.
Well, you have to say what it is. A jar of peanut butter. Like if you had peanut butter sandwiches, you could.
Which is why it's ridiculous.
But someone,
Which is why it makes no sense.
made a viral video saying that they went through TSA and they had a jar of peanut butter and it was denied.
Oh, I just thought of another loophole.
What?
What if you, let's say you want to bring a 2-liter of Coke.
Yeah.
You just get enough sponges to soak up all the Coke, and then after you get through the TSA, then you just wring out all the sponges back into the Coke bottle.
That's disgusting.
I don't feel like we should be making workarounds for security issues.
Because then you're the person that's like, is that sponges on you? What is that?
Yeah, the TSA wonder why you have so many soggy sponges, discolored sponges. I'm just trying to figure things out,
I think the other bigger controversy was this is a trend, a joking trend, but with jokes, there's people that seriously do it on if you're trying to get enough protein or bulk up or cut down and you want to just have less calories but high protein, a new option that you can be eating.
Yeah.
Should we say it? Or?
It's dog food.
Dog food, okay.
Dog food, yeah.
And in the time since we've talked about that, I just have thought more and more about how many things I would, if you put 2 plates in front of me and one had some certain things and one had dog food, how many things that are actually meant for human consumption I would choose the dog food over. Yeah, well, it's a lot of them.
Why don't you save that for next week when I'm not here, and then you guys can try to come up with the items you would rather eat than dog food.
We could just give just people can text in stuff and I'll let you know if I would eat dog food over.
Yeah, I think we should do a dog food fight for Hudson. Bring in a couple different dog foods and let him tell us which one is the best flavor. Next week is going
to be a great week for you guys.
Yeah, I can bring in the dog food I give to Jim.
Yeah.
And then you guys could bring the dog food you give your dogs.
Yeah.
And then we could have Hudson try all 3.
Yeah.
And then figure out which one's the best. So, Nikki, for yours, because you have so many dogs, right?
Yeah.
So, for yours, do you feed them all the same food?
They all get the same food.
Really?
And they have different bowls, though.
Yes.
And some of them need a bit more encouraging to eat than others. That's Rolo. And so he gets sometimes a little extra from dinner.
He so would.
I put it, I think... Okay, in all honesty, it's because he's medicated.
Yeah, that's
and
what I was
sometimes
thinking.
they say the medicine will suppress your appetite. And so my poor little dog, he's just like, nah, I don't want to eat dinner.
He's not worried about it.
I'm like, you have to eat dinner. Here's some ranch.
Yeah, have some ranch on top of it. That'll help you. See, for Jim, if I feed him, usually he's pretty amped up to eat, always. But the time that he's the most excited, last night, he was so eager to eat, and that's because I forgot to feed him the day before. And so, for whatever reason, whenever I forget to feed him the next day, he's so excited to eat.
Yeah,
it's just odd things. Maybe you should just
be.
forget to feed Rolo a couple times.
No, because he won't
and then he'll be
eat.
excited.
He won't do it. He'll be fine. He's
Really?
like, well, I guess I'm not supposed to eat.
He's like, whatever.
I'm going to go over here and bark, which
Maybe
I'm not allowed to, and then I get medicine. I don't know what to do. Do you give Jim extra if you know that you forgot? Or you just give him the same amount?
I try to keep him on the same because Jim people have been commenting about his weight recently. And so whenever I forget to feed him, I just say, well, he's on a diet. So it's not that I forgot to feed him.
Maybe you should just give him the medicine that Rolo's taking.
Oh, yeah.
No. If he's not barking, you don't want this one.
He's not barking currently,
oh my
but yeah.
gosh. Nothing is more embarrassing than going to the pharmacy and picking up, and they're like, okay, what's the birth date? And you're like, well, I only know Rolo's birthday from his vet app, but I'm like, oh, let me get it. And then it looks like I don't know my child's birthday. And then they're like, well, let me look up the name. And I'm like, it's Rolo.
So you don't know your
dog.
dog's birthday, though?
I do if I look up the app. I mean,
You don't have it memorized.
You've got a couple different dogs. It's understandable.
I have a lot of pets. I can't do that.
You know Jim's birthday. We just
I only
celebrated.
have one.
He only has one.
And he's like a young pup, you know?
I have
he's
four animals at home.
And I got him when he was like a little baby boy, too. So.
Well, I got Rolo when he was a baby boy, too.
Okay, well, maybe you don't have really much of an excuse. I'm trying to help you out here.
Nope, I'm not taking it. All right, enjoy the podcast today. Thank you again for considering supporting RadioU.com and helping out.
And we will catch you next time.
Bye.
See you guys.
We're not sure who behaves worse, the Riot or their dogs.
I don't even know how to behave like a real human being.
The Riot, Radio U.
I've got a question for you guys. You ever thought about if you're allowed to bring peanut butter on a plane?
Oh, because of like allergies or?
No, I don't care about that.
Well, it seems like the last two times I was on the plane, they announced over the loudspeakers that there was someone with a peanut allergy, so don't get anything out.
So they let you know.
Yeah, they did both times, like both flights there and back for me when I was coming back from Seattle. They said that there's someone on the plane with peanut allergies if you have any food, because obviously on the flight, for whatever reason, everyone was eating food that smelled really bad, and they said if you have any peanut food.
They didn't comment on that.
They didn't comment on that. That's what I was upset about.
Yeah.
I wasn't so worried about the peanuts.
You should have said you had an allergy to bad smelling
To bad
food.
smells?
Yeah.
Well, then usually they'll give you pretzels instead of peanuts. Though most places don't do peanuts anymore, but you wish they told
peanuts were better for sure.
You wish that they said like, who is it?
Yeah.
Show the
Who's causing these issues?
You just go, I can't be sure what it is, but I'm allergic to whatever this smells.
Yes, whatever that is.
But for peanut butter is what is in question here. And I guess I always just would have assumed if you wanted to bring a jar of peanut butter on the plane as your plane snack, that'd be fine, right? Unless there was somebody with an allergy. But it turns out that's not the case. And the reason that's not the case has nothing to do with allergies at all. It's because peanut butter, according to the TSA, is a liquid.
Oh, really?
They say it's a liquid.
Well, I
Interesting.
mean, we all have that jar of peanut butter, unless you buy like the Jif or like the chunky one. It usually separates, and it has like you have to mix it up each time. So I guess
that's
it does.
the fancy oily peanut butter,
That's
the natural stuff.
Nowadays, that's most peanut butter. So
I
I don't
consider that the fancy
the
kind.
expensive
Me too.
kind.
Yes. I
know
use
I'm
like
really-
Jif Crunchy. I use Kroger brand Crunchy.
So you'd be fighting this if the TSA tried to take your peanut butter.
I think this is
would.
clearly a solid. Can you not look in here?
It's
clearly
obviously
solid.
solid. Now, according to the TSA, their definition of liquid is, and this is why they say peanut butter is a no-go. It says, a liquid has no definite shape and takes a shape dictated by its container. Does peanut butter have a definite shape?
If it's thick enough, yeah.
That's right,
It does.
Especially if it's chunky.
This is TSA just overstepping.
And that's not even the actual definition of liquid, because I looked it up and it says a substance that flows freely but is of constant volume. Peanut butter does not flow freely. It is stagnant. If you dump it out of that jar, it just sits there. It doesn't flow anywhere.
Does anybody remember why we can't have liquids anymore? Like, what's the security threat?
Isn't it like
you can make a bomb
you can make
with
a
it or
bomb with
something?
it?
Well,
That's
I
just
mean,
what I assume.
I don't think peanut butter, but you never know.
You never know. I mean,
Never
people
know.
are crazy.
Yeah, if you get MacGyver on there, then maybe. But see, here's the thing. I already thought of a solution to this. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Because people are going through, and then it's like, well, if I can't bring peanut butter, there's so many other things that you can't bring, like jelly and cranberry sauce and just anything that really comes in a jar like that. And so here's
Well,
my
jelly
solution.
kind of is a liquid.
It's more free flowing.
Yes.
It has no, but
We wouldn't fight that one.
I would say if you said
That's
jelly,
right.
I'd be like, all right, yeah.
But I have a solution to this because I'm a solutions oriented guy. You want to bring peanut butter on the plane? Freeze it.
Freeze it.
Okay, there you go.
It becomes a solid.
Yeah,
Let's see the TSA argue with that.
Or I just
True.
thought if you just make a ton of sandwiches,
just bring them on?
Yeah, bring them on that way.
Yeah, that's
Yes.
a great point. If you put it
Yeah.
on a sandwich, I guess that might be less than 3.4 ounces, unless you're me. I put a lot of peanut butter on. But how are they going to argue that that's illegal?
They can't.
I know.
There's
How
no
could they
way.
possibly?
But I will know if they try to take it at the point for TSA, then you got to eat that whole jar.
Yes.
You got to teach them a lesson.
That's a challenge. Challenge accepted.
Challenge accepted.
Hudson, Nikki, The Riot on Radio U.
Now, I don't know if you guys are familiar with the rapper Rick Ross. Remember him from back in the day?
I don't think I ever know him from any of his music, but I feel like he's always like not a meme, but like just something.
Yeah.
Is he just extra wealthy or?
He's pretty wealthy.
Yeah, okay.
From the music and maybe from doing some other stuff. I believe, I'll just leave it at that. But Rick Ross has made a lot of money. He's made so much money that he's got, nice, he's got some nice homes, and he's also got a lot of pets. But that's the problem here. At his home, he has some cows. He's got some buffaloes.
Oh, it's not just a home. It's a 235-acre estate.
Estate. That's a good way to put it.
And that's outside of Atlanta.
Yeah. So he got into some trouble recently because his buffaloes and several of his other bovine animals escaped his yard and moved on over into his over on into his neighbor's yard.
Bad.
And his neighbor was complaining that the buffaloes had wandered over and were now grazing in her yard instead. But he said, "Listen, they're not going to cause too much trouble. They're just buffaloes. He says, if you see my buffalo, give it a carrot, give it an apple. They're very kind and peaceful."
Aw. But everybody's mad at him.
Yeah, I mean, and listen, if you're Rick Ross's neighbor, that means you also probably
Have an estate.
you're probably pretty
You'd
wealthy.
think.
You wouldn't expect for really any animals to be wandering into your yard unaccounted for. Forget about buffaloes and things of that nature. So I can understand why people would be upset if they were randomly seeing buffaloes in Atlanta. Although maybe the American buffalo, it's trying to get a resurgence, but it's not the same as it used to be. Maybe you should just be thankful that there's still buffaloes out there.
So does he sell them because he says he runs like a zoo? It's like a animal place. And I don't know. Sometimes with zoo, that just means they sell off buffalo meat.
I feel like I imagine it's not too dissimilar from like Tiger King stuff.
Sure.
Although this is less
Okay.
illegal, but you know what I mean? When you make a lot of money and maybe some of it
No one tells you no.
Yeah, and some of it might resolve around certain substances.
Yeah.
Then for some reason, animals enter the equation. And I feel like that could be the situation here. Exotic animals. Maybe he farms them. Yeah, maybe he,
Well, this
maybe
is
if you go to Fudd Records and get a bison burger, it could come from Rick Ross's farm.
This is what
You don't know.
need to know when you're so wealthy is it's about your tax benefits. So basically, he has a promised land zoo, and he turned it into a functioning farm.
Whoa.
And that means he gets tax benefits. So how much of a farm it actually is, I don't know.
Yeah.
But that's what he calls it.
Well, he has his mansion has 109 bedrooms.
It does! For all the
Huge.
buffalo?
Yeah, why don't the buffaloes
And when I look
stay
at
inside?
the aerial view, these buffalo must really be roaming because he has so much land. He
Yeah.
has so much room for them to mosey around. So his neighbors probably aren't very close to his house.
That is not
Yeah.
his house, is it?
That's his house. What do you mean? It's Rick Ross.
no.
He's a pretty famous.
235 acres, Nikki.
I'm looking it up.
at
All
that.
right. Well,
Look
good
it
for
up.
him.
It looks like the Taj Mahal.
I can't see. That doesn't even look real.
That's Rick Ross for you.
And that's in Atlanta?
Yeah.
I mean, it just must
And
be
the outskirts.
Outside of
Outskirts.
Atlanta, yeah.
All right. Well, good for
His
him.
mega home.
What was his name? Rick Ross. It's our spring fundraiser and our birthday today.
If you'd like to donate,
Could you donate the
you're
price
more
of a
than
buffalo?
welcome.
That would be really, really
We're totally
nice.
on your side with
Yes.
this, by the way. We are fine with the buffalo roaming.
We just want a slight little, call it hush money. We won't tell if we see one.
So you guys don't think we should start our own Promised Land zoo?
we can't take
for
care of
farm
ourselves.
buffaloes?
How can we take care of buffalo?
Neither should
more
Rick Ross,
land.
apparently. He's letting them run all over town.
But they're so wealthy. He surely has a crew for that, and they just drop the ball.
They're eating gold carrots, and they have plenty of room to roam around. They're living their best life. They have to be the fanciest buffalo there are in the world.
It must be so crazy to be the buffalo, and instead of going inside in this mansion and just doing whatever. You're like, I'm going to go to the neighbor's yard.
Yes, of all places. They have like all the food they possibly could ever want and all the amenities. They're like, let's check out the
You
neighbor's
don't
place.
know the neighbor. What
True.
if the neighbor's bigger
If you're
over
Rick
there?
Ross's
That's
neighbor,
right. They
that
might have
means
a nicer house.
Yep.
Hudson and Isaiah seem like they know a lot about sports, yet somehow it's Nikki that always gets it right. The Riot, Radio U.
Isaiah, you have been bulking for a while now.
Yes.
Try again. And then are you, your plan is this weekend is when that all stops, right?
Yes.
Okay.
So is that when it's called cutting?
You're
We
gonna
start cutting.
cut?
Yes.
Okay.
And so what's that going to be, like chicken and rice and nothing else?
Just a lot less food.
A lot less food, huh?
Even though to me, bulking always seems like what I see like The Rock eat. So like, I don't think you guys bulk quite like him.
Isaiah, the
Well,
Rock. What's the difference?
I'm not quite the same size as the
Yeah.
bulk, so I don't have to
You
have
have
to
to eat as
consume as much food.
I gotcha.
For my
Okay.
bulk.
In your dietary routine, have you considered adding dog food to the mix?
I'm sorry, what? For
Have
the
you-
bulking?
Yeah, you know what? For either, because it's actually a pretty efficient way of delivering protein. It sounds like. I mean, even if when you
Have I considered eating dog food?
Yeah.
I have not.
Why is that? It has a lot of protein. You need protein, right?
I do, but I feel as
You're
if
telling me you had protein goals like the other
and I
day.
meet them every day without using dog food.
Have you seen his lunch of chicken nuggets?
No, listen,
Yeah.
if you have to cut weight, but you still got to get your protein, you got to use your calories efficiently, right?
Is
Yes.
dog food low calorie?
Is it
or-
low cal, high protein?
It's high protein. It is high protein. Look at it's kind
It's
of
a new trend.
It's a trend going around TikTok that I feel is more of a joke, but I actually don't understand why it's a joke because guys are realizing, gym bros are realizing that dog food is such a high percentage of like what it is such high percentage protein that it's an efficient way of delivering the protein. Like if you need protein,
And you got to be pretty bad off if that's what
Pretty
you're
down bad.
If you're
Listen,
going to.
I ate dog food one time.
That's a dare. And who hasn't done that like a
But
sleepover?
I'm telling you,
Yeah.
I've also had like protein shakes, and I'm telling you, the dog food does not taste as bad as protein shakes.
I drink like 4 protein shakes every day. It's not even
just-
close.
it's-
Mine's chocolate peanut butter. It's great.
Yeah.
It's the same. It's not
Mine's
the
straight
same.
chocolate. It's good.
Not if you're drinking like the mix where you just mix it into the cup. That's not the same. Dog food definitely tastes better than that.
Well, a
Then,
lot of the-
you need to try my protein after this, and we can
Let's do it
reassess.
side by side.
You're doing it wrong either way if you're doing this. But they say a lot of gym bros have been having fun with this and being tempted to have dog food as a way to reach their protein goals and have low calorie. But for me also, like, I guess anytime with dog food, I'm just used to there being so much controversy as to what's actually in dog food and if it's even good enough for your dogs, let alone if you're eating it. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know if it would be a very balanced meal you'd be getting. But I mean, you think about it, if you look at the pictures on the bag of dog food, it shows like carrots and chicken and stuff. So I'm sure it has all that in there.
I don't
so
think
you're
it's
actually getting all the parts of the triangle that
Hudson,
you need, the
it's
pyramid.
not the good carrots, okay? You know
What
it's
do you
not the
mean?
good food going in there.
What do you mean good carrots?
There's bad carrots too.
There's carrots that are bad for you?
Yes, I'm sure there is. Well, I mean, it depends on how desperate you are to either meet your protein goals or to meet your calorie needs. But that's something I don't know if anybody's interested in.
Actually, when you think about it, dog food probably tastes better than carrots too, now that
I don't think so. Do
Considering
you,
that.
Isaiah?
I like
I think
carrots.
carrots are just fine.
Have you had dog food in a while?
it's been several years.
It seems as if you're hyping it up, like as if it tastes good.
I'm just thinking about all the
Jim
other
barely even eats his dog food.
I'm just thinking about all the other stuff we eat that's so gross. Like people just eat other things and then they frown upon dog food just because it's for dogs. And based on taste alone, it is not the worst thing. There's much worse things that people eat on a routine basis every day.
Actually, I probably would take dog food over cat food. So I would do that.
That's true,
You
yeah.
eat cat food every day? Is that
Cat
what you're-
food's worse.
on a
I mean,
regular basis?
it just looks worse when you're giving it to them. So I think
Yes.
dog food, at least if you're trying to, again, be a gym bro, that might be better.
I'll tell you where I draw the line is the dog food in the can that like it's the entire
sloppy
can.
stuff?
Not the
Yeah.
sloppies, not the ones in gravy. I'm talking about like where it's kind of, you know what I'm talking about, where it's like it takes up the whole can and you have to spoon it out. It doesn't just come out.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah, that's
I
you.
wouldn't eat that.
There
I
you
would
go.
not eat that.
I think you should just try like chicken. I
Which
feel
your
like
dog would love if you just fed them.
yes,
Yeah.
if your dog would choose it over it, I think you should as well.
But there's a lot of wasted calories there.
No, I don't think so.
Not really.
The only thing Isaiah loves more than the riot is himself.
Someone who probably still lives with his mother and hates himself.
You're listening to The Riot on Radio U.
We've got we can call it Would You Rather Wednesday.
Oh, I think it works.
We've got a Would You Rather, a debate that, Nikki, was this your idea?
No, this was my idea.
Now wait.
This is for sure my idea.
If everybody thinks it's a good idea, it's mine.
Okay, fair. If it's a bad idea, then it was my idea.
I know Would You Rathers generally are your idea, but I think Nikki came up with this one. Which member of the riot would you rather be?
I'm fascinated to think which, out of all three of us, if you guys could choose which one you would be, who would you be?
I know why Nikki came up with this one because she knows everybody will say her.
No,
so it'll be
know.
a very positive experience for you.
No offense, Isaiah, but I think they're going to pick him because he's like the fun, maybe doesn't have all the responsibility one.
I am the most fun.
So I think he'll get chosen as, out of the three of us, if you could be someone, who would it be?
But
Because you don't want to pick the person who has the most work.
Don't you think we're more relatable? That's right. We do have the least work. We have much less work than Isaiah.
I think that what would your argument be to choose you, Hudson?
To choose myself. Well,
yeah, why would they want to pick you?
If you stepped into my shoes, you would be happily married with a beautiful wife. That's a big positive.
That's good. Okay.
True. There you go.
I think we meant more like work-wise.
Yeah.
Work-wise.
Well, if you chose me work-wise, you are the star of one of the biggest morning shows and podcasts in the world.
There you go. There you go.
And Nikki and Isaiah get to ride off of... Why would you choose them when they're just riding off my coattails?
You're right. You're
See,
right.
I like the way you think about that, but oddly enough, in my mind, I'm the star of the show. It's this weird thing, this weird dynamic in here.
You two, that you might be helping them choose me.
Yeah, I know.
Or do you guys feel sorry for me because I put up with those two?
Yeah, that's a good point.
Why would you pick Nikki when you're going to be stuck in a room with Hudson and I all the time?
Well, why am I doing this?
Yeah, so wait a minute. Hold the phone.
This what is the question for the Wednesday? The Would You Rather?
Would you rather Wednesday?
Put this down as the Would You Rather Wednesday where Nikki suddenly realized.
Yeah.
She's like, maybe I have it the worst.
8772 Radio U. Text in with which member of the riot would you prefer to be?
And maybe put a little something on why
Yeah, you
you're
gotta
choosing
give some
that person.
reasoning.
And include your name. So text 8772 Radio U for Would You Rather Wednesday. Which member of the riot, if you could be one of us, which one would you be and why?
Or which other two members of the riot would you not want to be?
Yeah, that's also
That's another way to look at it.
that's another way to answer.
It's not that I
it.
want to be this person. It's that I really don't want to be this one.
Hudson.
I would hate it.
8772 Radio U.
I don't know if this makes us feel good.
Well, I mean, you came up with it.
I like it. I love it.
See what people are saying coming up.
Add a little riot to your Instagram feed. Follow at Radio U Official. The Riot. Radio U.
It's Would You Rather Wednesday. And the question is, if you were forced to be one of the members of the riot, Nikki, Isaiah, me, which one would you choose?
Which one would you go
Which
with?
one would you want to be? And we have a lot of people chiming in.
You want to hear some of them?
Yeah.
I do at first. We'll see.
Yeah, maybe we'll
see how
shut this down
goes.
quickly.
All right, I'll give you Billy's first. Hudson, because he's always in charge.
See, well, Billy, that's where you're wrong. I mean, I like to think that we're all in charge in our own little special way. Hudson may be in charge,
That's funny
but
that's Billy's interpretation.
Yeah.
that's what he thinks
Yeah.
happens
I
around
come
here.
across as in charge, and that's what really matters.
Jessica says, would you rather Wednesday, Nikki, because she has amazing patience, and my pets, because I have lots of dogs and cats.
Yeah, that's a good reason.
Which I'll follow that up with Rain, who's also choosing me because I have a cool job and lots of pets. I didn't know that was going to be a theme of
Do
this.
Isaiah and I get included as your pets? Because
Yeah, it's another we're addition. She's got 7 of them. She's got 6 pets.
Let's see. Caleb says I would not want to be Nikki because I deal with you guys, and Caleb doesn't want to deal. So I said,
Good
hey,
call.
well, then you have to pick Isaiah or Hudson, and says, yikes, I guess that's the unfortunate consequence of not going with me. So I'm still waiting to hear back on that.
I guess you could be Nikki and just, if you could choose to be Nikki and then quit.
Yeah, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That's true.
There you go.
Let's see. Catherine saying I would be Isaiah with Nikki's pets. Hey.
Hey, Jim's a good dog, all right? You guys don't want Jim?
Says his life is closest in circumstances to mine, and I'm quite happy right
Sounds
now.
like you live a good life.
there you
sound
go.
like
If you just
good
had
life.
more dogs.
Tom says Hudson because I love hot dogs. Ken's going to go with Isaiah because he's young.
good
Tommy
option.
says.
Wait, hold on a second. Hold on a second.
What are you talking about?
How old do you think Nikki?
Look at me. I am the pinnacle of youth.
Yep, that's it. That's it. Let's see. Tommy's going with Isaiah because our personalities are too similar. A seamless transition over to you.
Sounds like you're a fun guy, Tommy. I like your style.
Regina says, good morning. I appreciate all three of you for your senses of humor. I'd relate to Nikki the most because of her ability to work and keep Hudson and Isaiah in line. Roll with the craziness, though, and then sarcasm as well.
I think what I'm hearing is that Nikki should go demand a raise.
I know.
How hard her job must be dealing with us.
I didn't know that you guys caught on to the problems
Yeah.
that came with the show, but I think everybody got a couple of votes there.
Yeah.
we all
Hudson, you got one.
Well, I
You
got
got a
two.
vote.
I got at least two.
Now we can't be sure if there was two.
I got at least, I got multiple votes. And I'll tell you what I do appreciate about everybody is nobody was texting and being too negative.
No, not at all.
Nobody's like, I would hate to be Isaiah because Jim the dog is a hellion or something.
Hey, you know
like
what
that.
he is, and he is. That would have been a fair text.
But people are still willing to put up with that. It
I
sounds
still
like.
thought for the Would You Rather Wednesday, the question is, would you rather be Hudson, myself, or Isaiah if you could choose? And I thought it would just focus more on, the riot, like work related, but I didn't know
Yeah.
you guys would bring our pets in and more personal stuff.
See, that's where I took a big downfall there. That right there was where
Jim
my
cost you
stocks,
several votes.
He got me a lot of votes.
Yeah. Well, I think this is a good segment where we can all walk away feeling okay about ourselves.
Pretty good.
I mean, nothing. Isaiah and I didn't hear anything we didn't already know.
Yeah,
So-
exactly. Exactly.
Well, you're still welcome to vote anytime on who would you rather if you had to choose, or if it was an unfortunate problem and you became one of us, who would you rather become?
8772 Radio U.
The Riot with Hudson and Nikki on Radio U.
I love when Isaiah finds relationship advice for us as the single one of the bunch.
What'd you find?
Oh, we're talking about me?
Yeah, you found this.
I didn't know. You know what? I never know if you want to introduce it or if you want me
I
to
did
do
introduce it. I said,
You said, "Here you
found
go."
this relationship advice.
He wasn't paying attention to you.
No.
I
You weren't
wasn't. It was
listening
another one of
at
those
all.
times where I wasn't listening when you were talking, but
That's the whole show.
literally. So I found the story last night before we came in, and this one pretty much is talking about how you should not be. You need to change the way you're arguing with your significant other, because most people are arguing to win.
Oh, sure.
You are
Yeah.
not supposed to argue to win. You're supposed to argue to understand.
Oh,
To understand.
I know exactly. And so what
How
they
do you do that?
What they say is while you're arguing, you need to keep more of an open mind, because obviously mid-argument people start getting very stubborn, like we do pretty much every day on the show. Once you take
Yeah.
your stance, then it
You
doesn't
don't
matter.
back down.
Yeah, it doesn't matter
Right.
what the other person is saying. Pretty much no matter what,
Well,
you're stuck
to
in
be
your
fair,
way.
our show would be real boring if every time we started arguing, one of us just goes, actually, you're right.
that's a
You
great
know what?
idea. Reasonable.
It is the riot.
Well, they'd finally hear less of us.
But tell
they
us more
would.
about how this how this would help our relationship.
So what they say is while you're mid-argument, you need to listen to the other person, and if you do so, it will lead them to be a little bit more well received during the argument. It'll make them feel better about themselves.
Gosh, this feels like this article is written by someone who never wins an argument.
Exactly.
So they're calling it the benefits of arguing to learn. So you're supposed to be open-minded during an argument so that you can learn new things about how awful you are and help you land on a correct answer, so then others are more receptive to maybe then your point of view.
Well, this person doesn't, or whoever came up with this study doesn't understand that the reason I'm arguing in the first place is because I have the correct answer.
Because you are right.
And my wife is wrong. And so she needs to argue to learn.
I do like the arguing to learn thing. I mean,
Yeah.
that's not the worst.
I think, seriously, I think I do have this problem because I always want to be right. And I always
you do?
feel that I'm right. Why are you acting like...
No, you do.
You can
He's
tell.
picked up on
yeah.
that.
No, yeah, we've all got that. We've caught
so
on to that.
I never. I always want to be right, and so I do argue to win, and that's how I know that I'm right.
Well, let's look at this. They say arguing to learn is a mentality, not a set of tactics. So sometimes if you're yelling or arguing with someone, it's very tactic driven on how you just want them to agree with you.
Yeah.
So the key is understanding why it matters in the first place.
Yeah, I like the. He recommends trying to hit the 4 primary W's. You ready for these?
All right.
We've got
This is big for me.
Ready? What's your argument? The first one. Why is it true? Now, when has it happened before? Now, who really cares?
Wow.
That make
I
you
don't
feel
like
better?
those.
But
Make
if
you
you
feel
end at the end, if you try to end an argument by saying "who really cares,"
But, like, at the end of the day,
that's
does it
gonna
really
make things
matter?
worse. Yeah, that doesn't sound great.
I don't like this because I feel like I am right a lot of times when I argue.
Yeah,
know,
exactly.
That's right. That's what everybody thinks.
I'm just
Why would
trying to
be
make you
arguing If
smarter.
you thought you were wrong.
I'm helping you. I'm helping you understand. Right now, you're in the wrong. But after this conversation, you're going to be so much smarter if you just listen to
Well,
me.
here's
Look
a
at
good
this.
point, though. They say this isn't really the best, maybe for if you're in a relationship with someone. They say this is more if you're workplace arguing, where it's not the best to have the attitude of you're right no matter what. So this is more like if you're arguing
But
with
in a relationship,
coworker.
you can be right no matter
Yeah,
what.
that's fine.
Yeah, you know what?
You can be as stubborn as you want.
I actually have to give the authors of this study credit because they've managed to get us to all agree that, that it's a stupid thing to do.
We did.
Even we
Bring
aren't
us
arguing
together.
about this. And if you can stop us from arguing, you must be doing something
You're
right.
stopping the show.
Well, relationship corner with the riot.
You won't hear a show like this anywhere else. And that's probably for the best. The worst of the riot. Radio U.
Today I have a guy. His name is Brian Johnson. He is a tech tycoon. He's already made his millions. He came up with a company. It's a payment processing company called Braintree Payment Solutions. And it was such a great company, apparently, that he sold it to eBay for $800 million.
In cash.
Yeah.
eBay paid that
Where did
much?
eBay get all that cash?
What do you do? Do you go to the bank with that? Or
Yeah, I
you
don't
keep it at
know.
home?
You
and
just
it's
roll
safe?
cash all the time.
Wow.
So he's made his millions, and now he's got to find something else to occupy his time with. And so what he's spending all of his money on, basically, and spending all of his time on, is working to have a perfect body. This guy, Brian Johnson, he's 45, but he spends $2 million each year to biohack his body, basically.
So on his health and fitness?
Yeah, so he's got a regimen that not only a diet, it's not just working out, it's not just like supplements. He's got 30 doctors and regenerative health experts overseeing basically every aspect of his health so that he can eventually reach his goal of having all of his major organs functioning as if they were when he was in his late teens.
Yeah. So basically, it's the opposite of we don't even have doctors or we shy away. He is active
Yeah.
in his. So he says he currently has the heart of a 37-year-old and he's 45, the skin of a 28-year-old, the lung capacity and fitness of an 18-year-old.
And he says all of his major organs, including his brain. Really? You want your brain functioning like you were in your late teens? That's not
the age of that.
that's not the best brain that you can have.
Well, let me tell you what his diet and stuff is.
Let's
And
hear
because
it.
I know, Isaiah, you're bulking right now.
Yeah.
So
Is
maybe
this
you can get some ideas
inspiration
from this.
for
Maybe
you?
I could get some inspiration from Brian. Let's see what he
So
does.
he
Yeah.
does a strict vegan diet.
I'm out.
He has 1,977 calories per day.
That is specific.
That's specific.
You couldn't just do 2,000.
Nope.
That'd be
That's
too
too
many.
much.
Yeah.
He has a daily exercise routine that's 1 hour. He does
That doesn't sound that bad.
a HIIT routine, high intensity. He does that 3 times a week. And he goes to bed every night at the same time.
What time is that?
They don't say. They say he gets up at 5 a.m.
Okay.
Takes 2 dozen supplements. Green juice, brushes and flosses his teeth while rinsing with tea tree oil and antioxidant gel. He wears the block blue light glasses,
Okay.
monitors all of his vital signs constantly. He's hooked up to a machine at night. He wears a sleep mask that goes around and stimulates his brain during the nighttime.
Oh.
So
It looks like he's wearing a lamp. That's what it looks like.
He puts like a lamp over his head, and so this is what he does. That helmet that he wears at night,
Yeah.
$50,000.
Whoa.
Not worth it.
You don't think so?
Not worth it. I think so. What I would say, my thing to Brian would be just a couple things. I think that if he's trying to like ensure a longer life, like I don't know if he's trying to live to like 150 or something. If that's his goal, then this is like, whatever. Do your thing. Be really healthy.
Yeah.
But I feel like he's missing out on a lot of the fun stuff of life,
Yeah, he is.
Like, is it really worth it? Like, I get you're 45 or whatever. You want to look like an 18-year-old. Weird. But we don't have to talk about that. We don't have to touch on that because I'm like, dude, you're 45 years old. You don't have to look like an 18-year-old. Why can't you just be happy, enjoy your life?
He said that before he started this, he was suicidal, overweight, worked long hours. So he was very unhappy. But I feel like sometimes, when we start a program because we're so unhappy, we then just go overboard on that program.
Right.
And then you have the same issue.
And eventually you'll be unhappy again.
But for now, he has the money to sustain what he's trying to do.
It is crazy that most people will be spending, if you had $800 million basically, you'd be spending it on fun stuff. And this guy's doing the complete opposite of having the most strict life you could possibly have. Doesn't it kind of all feel like a supervillain origin story?
It does.
Like he's
It
so
really does.
hyper-focused on looking like an 18-year-old that eventually, like, he's going to do something wacky. Well, I mean, even wackier than this. Like, he's going to start, like, I don't want to say luring, but luring 18-year-olds
No, I understand.
to, like, take over their body or whatever, Like, where will he stop?
Where will it end?
Where will it
Brian?
end?
I think what he should do to make himself feel younger is like what all the other like 45-year-old like billionaires do. He should just like marry a 24-year-old Instagram model, and that will make you feel way younger, Brian, than what you're doing right now.
Buy
what
some
they
new
always do.
clothes.
Yes.
New
Go get a
wardrobe.
boat and just do what all the other billionaires do. What are you doing right now?
Yeah.
You're doing this way wrong.
You're making
needs a new
everybody
yacht.
uncomfortable is what you're doing.
They said, though, that for billionaires, it is very common that they see that there's so much money for all of us that they could get out of us because people are more interested in trying to live longer or a healthier life. So they just realize that, for him, maybe he's his own test subject, and this leads to something else that he's doing.
So then he can squeeze us all dry, also making us try to look like
While still making more money
Well, I'm
down
not
the road.
going.
great.
I'm never sleeping with a lamp on my
In
head.
this guy's future, the future he wants, it's a world full of 18-year-olds.
And
That
hey,
sounds
and what was his name again?
Brian Johnson.
Brian Johnson says you get up every morning at 5 a.m. You're talking to three people who get up earlier than you.
You think we?
You need to get up earlier
You think we'd look younger?
if we slept in.
That's enough of that. For more Riot content, head to riot.radiou.com.